What's the difference between hot yoga and other styles of yoga? Is it just we turn on the heat? I mean, that's one difference, but it goes so far beyond that. So, stay tuned. Hi everyone, if this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Jimmy Barkan. Been teaching hot yoga for 40 years. Was Bikram Yoga's most senior teacher for over 18 years. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Hit the notification bell, you get notified when I post a new video, and hit the like button anytime you're enjoying this video. So hot yoga, do we just turn on the heat? When I say hot yoga, I'm not just talking about yoga in a heated room, which has now become very popular all across the world, doing yoga in a heated room. When I'm saying hot yoga, I'm talking about a particular style of yoga that comes from the state of Bengal, which is more northeast in the country of India, specifically the city of Calcutta. And the originator of this particular style of hot yoga was Vishnu Ghosh. Now, somewhere in the mid to late 70s, Bikram Chowdhury, who was Vishnu Ghosh's one of his top students, came to the United States and brought this particular style of yoga to America. And I met Bikram in 1980, only a few years after he had been here. And then I had, like I said before in the intro, I had the privilege of being his most senior teacher for over 18 years. So let's talk about, we turn on the heat. And why did that happen? I explained in a couple other videos that I've done in the past that when Bikram went to Japan, it was a lot colder than it was in Calcutta. Calcutta, they just opened the windows and did yoga. But in Japan, it was freezing cold. That's when he had the idea to turn on the heat lamps. And then the heat became a big thing. In fact, I'm going to do a video in the future about how hot the room should be. It really depends on the humidity level, but stay tuned for that video. So when I say, what's the difference between hot yoga and other styles of yoga? Because nowadays, there's so many teacher training programs out there. There's sort of an eclectic view of yoga. But one of the most popular styles of yoga that are not in a heated room is from a lineage that I call the Krishnamacharyans. Krishnamacharya, arguably one of the most popular and famous hatha yoga teachers of the last 2 centuries, had 3 very famous students. One was Iyengar. And Iyengar created his own style of yoga called Iyengar yoga. The other was Pattabhi Jois, who created what he calls his version of Ashtanga yoga. When he chose that word, he pretty much confused all of the Western world of understanding yoga, but what's another video we'll have to go into another time. And then Deskachar, his son, created Vinaya yoga. And some of the most famous teachers in the West came under this particular umbrella, what I call the Krishnamacharya umbrella. Rodney Yee, you might have seen him on the Prana mattress commercials. Shiva Ray, one of the most prominent, not just female teachers, but yoga teachers in the whole world. John Friend and Sean Korn and Richard Freeman. So many teachers that are extremely wise and successful. So when I say other styles of yoga, a lot of times I'm referring to this particular group because that's the most popular group beside the hot yogis. So hot yoga and other styles of yoga, or would say hot yoga and the Krishnamacharyans. One of the big differences is, we turn the heat on, and one of the reasons why we use heat, because it gets the muscles and the tissue more pliable, so we can stretch further and go deeper. Now, do we get it so hot that you can barely survive? That's not what my philosophy is. And like I said, I'm going to do a video on how hot you should keep the room on point, because it really depends on the heat index, which is set by the humidity. I like the heat to just enhance the practice, not so you're in survival mode and just try to get through the class because it's so freaking hot. The heat, and I enjoy the heat, helps to get our bodies pliable, and that is our approach. That's our philosophy. A little different than the Krishnamacharyans. That's why their breathing is different, because we can't breathe deeply in and deeply out in a hot room or we'll hyperventilate. Now, another difference is some of the postures. We do postures that are different than they do in the Krishnamacharya world or other styles of yoga. For example, upward dog and downward dog did not migrate to the north. That was more in the south. That's where the Krishnamacharyans come from Mysore, which is more central southern India. We're in more northern eastern India. So the upward dog, downward dog, even though I do it in the Barkan method, in our hot yoga classes. If you're interested, by the way, in taking a hot yoga class with me on a daily basis, you can subscribe to our on-demand channel. I'll put the link down below in the descriptions. But I saw the value of the upward dog, downward dog, and now I incorporate it into my sequence. But there are other postures in our particular style of yoga that are not practiced by the Krishnamacharyans, and one of them is an alignment concept of a rounded spine. So the rabbit pose is a big rounded spine position you will not see in other styles of yoga, especially the Krishnamacharyans. They're all straight back. And that whole concept of the rounded spine, not just rabbit, but standing head to knee, standing separate leg head to knee, stretching pose when we do head to knee before stretching pose on the floor. The rounded spine, according to Vishnu Ghosh, creates another range of motion for the spine. Another big difference is names of poses. Some postures we name exactly the same as the Krishnamacharyans, because yoga has a universal type of concept to it in India, but like I said before, different regions of India have their own approach. So what we call, for example, Vajrasana, the Krishnamacharyans call it Baddha. Vajrasana, Vajra was a creation of Shiva. She was the goddess of the hunt. And it's also nicknamed gentle pose. Or Baddha is bound angle. Baddha, bound, Kan, angle. Another example is what we call Chakrasana, which is wheel pose. Krishnamacharyans call Urdhva Dhanurasana. Urdhva upward, Dhanyur is bow, so they call it upward bow pose. And another example is more of an advanced posture, what we call full camel. Krishnamacharyans call full pigeon. So the concept, why am I bringing this up? There's no one universal name for different poses. Don't think that there's one universal style of yoga, and that's in the Holy Grail. Hatha yoga has only been around for 900 years, and the standing poses are actually very new to the yoga world, only in the last couple hundred years. In fact, they didn't even call the standing postures asana until maybe 200 years ago, maybe 100 years ago. They called them tapas, because they would stand for long periods of time, and they would create the discipline that they would honor the teacher by standing on one leg for a long period of time. It wasn't until later on that they called it asana. So the names can be different. Some of them are the same, but some of them can be different. So what's right, what's wrong? Nobody's wrong. They're all both right in their own tradition. Hot yoga, Krishnamacharyans, or whatever style of yoga you're doing, everyone's traditional in their own right. Another big difference is that we exaggerate the back bend in hot yoga, as in half moon pose, or in the kneeling salute in God and Goddesses. And if you don't have a neck issue, we allow the neck to relax and soften. The head goes all the way back, and then you can go into even deeper back bend. Different philosophy than the Krishnamacharyans. Once again, I'm not making one person right and one person wrong. Everyone's right in their own tradition. Different concepts, different alignment, different philosophy. So let's sum it up. Differences between hot yoga and other styles of yoga. The heat is a big difference. Names of postures can be different, not all of them. The alignment concepts, like the rounding of the spine especially, that's a unique concept in our particular idea, philosophy of alignment. And of course, the extreme back bend, which can be exaggerated in the heat. We can go a lot further and a lot deeper within our practice. So that's our episode for today. Thank you for joining me. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell. If you enjoy this video, please hit the like button. And if you have any comments or questions, put them down below. I get to all the comments, and I'll see you at the next video. Bye, everyone.